बेसिकली हम अक्टूबर मंथ की विजन आई है कि अक्टूबर 2023 मंथली मैगजीन कवर करने जा रहे हैं। लाइन बाय लाइन टेक्निक करते हैं। पॉलिटी एंड गवर्नेंस, कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग ऑफ अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज। रिसेंटली कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग कमीशन इन कोलैबोरेशन मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हाउसिंग एंड अर्बन अफेयर ऑर्गेनाइज a national workshop on the capacity building of urban local bodies to foster a unified approach to capacity building urban local bodies across the India. The workshop marked the launch of 3 key initiatives: annual capacity building plan to enhance the capabilities of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, annual capacity building program में 6 पायलट अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज लिए जाएंगी। पहले हम लोग अहमदाबाद लेंगे, भुवनेश्वर लेंगे, मैसूरू, राजकोट, नागपुर, पुणे। कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव टूलकिट फॉर प्रिपेयरिंग द कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग प्लान फॉर द अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग द अवेलेबल रिसोर्सेज टू द फैसिलिटेट द ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज। कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग कमीशन जो है बेसिकली ये गैजेट ऑफ इंडिया में पब्लिश हुआ था इन 2021, एस्टैब्लिश एज एन इंडिपेंडेंट बॉडी विद कंप्लीट एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड फाइनेंशियल ऑटोनॉमी। एक्जीक्यूटिव ऑटोनॉमी है, फाइनेंशियल ऑटोनॉमी है। इट इज अ की कंपोनेंट ऑफ द नेशनल प्रोग्राम फॉर सिविल सर्विस कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग मिशन कम योगी सर्व बाय द डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ द पर्सन इन द ट्रेनिंग टू बिल्ड क्रेडिबिलिटी एंड शेप अ वेरी क्रेडिबिलिटी। अगर हम कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग अच्छे रहेंगे तो क्रेडिबिलिटी अच्छी हो जाएगी एंड विल शेप अ यूनिफॉर्म अप्रोच टू कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग ऑन अ कोलैबोरेटिव एंड को शेयरिंग बेसिस। इसमें एक चेयरपर्सन होते हैं, 2 मेंबर होते हैं। टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन ऑफ द सर्विस ऑफ चेयरपर्सन एंड मेंबर्स आर बी नोटिफाइड फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम। इसकी सेक्रेटरी मतलब हेडेड बाय सेक्रेटरी इन ग्रांट ऑफ अ जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी टू द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया विद अदर रिक्विजिट स्टाफ इज अप्रूव्ड फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम। फंक्शन रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी क्या है? इट कोऑर्डिनेट द डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ गवर्नमेंट फॉर इवॉल्विंग अ हार्मोनियस डीसिलॉइड approach to improve the capacity and build shared resources, prepare annual HR report on the health of the civil service along with the target achievement, undertake audit of human resources available in the government. Urban local bodies are small local bodies that administer or govern a city or town of a specified population. Urban governance means local government is part of the stateless entry number 5. Urban governance किसका part है? Stateless का, which is the entry number 5 under the constitution. Thus administrative framework and regulation of the urban local bodies varies across the state. 74th Amendment Act of 1992 formally recognized the urban local government as the third tier of the government. The act provides for the establishment of 3 types of urban local body. एक होता है नगर पंचायत ट्रांजिशनल एरिया के लिए, म्यूनिसिपल काउंसिल स्मॉल अर्बन एरिया के, लार्ज अर्बन के लिए म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन. इट पावर द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट टू devolve certain functions, certain authority and power to collect revenue from these bodies and make periodic election for them compulsory. Function of urban local bodies include the urban planning, including town planning, land use को regulate करते हैं, construction of the building, road and bridges, urban poverty elevation programs, etc. What is the need for the capacity building of urban local bodies? To deal with the regional aspiration, that is the economic development, social development through bottom-up planning. नीचे से ऊपर तक रहे. India's urban center are considered engines of growth as they account for nearly 2/3 of the country's economic growth. Engine of growth. Urban center को क्या बोलते हैं? Engine of growth, जो कि इसमें 2/3 of the country as they account for nearly 2/3 of the country's economic growth. India का urban population is expected to almost double from 460 million in 2018 से 876 million in 2050. 18 में 876 million 2050 for successful and the effective implementation of schemes like Smart City, Amrit Mission. जरूरी है कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग, स्ट्रीमलाइनिंग प्रोसेस, प्लानिंग प्रोसेस एंड delineation of institutional goals relationship for urban local bodies to meaningfully shape local and regional plan. What are the measures taken for the capacity building of the urban local bodies? Capacity building is scheme for urban local bodies. It aims to strengthen the urban local government through capacity building for better governance and better governance financial management as articulated in the 11.5. Better governance, better financial management in 11 year plan. World Bank assisted the capacity building for program capacity building for urban development and project. Its objective is to build the capacity of the select urban local body which are centers of the economic growth, improve their skills for better urban management and reduce urban poverty. Skill बढ़ाओ, अर्बन पोवर्टी बढ़ाओ, अर्बन मैनेजमेंट अच्छे से हो जाए. नेशनल अर्बन डिजिटल मिशन लॉन्च इन 2021 बाय द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हाउसिंग एंड अर्बन अफेयर. इट फोकस ऑन सिटीजन सेंट्रिक डिजिटल रिवोल्यूशन इन अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज इन इंडिया. ये 2021 में नेशनल अर्बन डिजिटल मिशन, ये जो नेशनल अर्बन डिजिटल मिशन 2021 में लॉन्च हुआ था मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हाउसिंग एंड टू इम्प्रूव द स्किल्स फॉर द बेटर अर्बन मैनेजमेंट एंड रिड्यूस अर्बन पॉवर्टी. नेशनल अर्बन डिजिटल मिशन 2021 में इट फोकस ऑन द सिटीजन सेंट्रिक डिजिटल रिवोल्यूशन. क्या है सिटीजन सेंट्रिक digital revolution urban local bodies. It aims to create a shared digital infrastructure. Digital revolution, shared digital infrastructure working across 3 pillars of people, process and platform. PPP, people, process, platform to provide a framework for digital governance in the country. National Institute of Urban Affairs has been appointed to anchor this mission. ये 1976 में बना था National Institute of Urban Affairs और it is a premier institute for research, training, information dissemination, urban development and management. Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission and focus on the inefficiency in urban infrastructure. जो भी अर्बन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है या सर्विस डिलीवरी मैकेनिज्म है वो एफिशिएंट हो, कम्युनिटी पार्टिसिपेशन हो, अकाउंटेबिलिटी ऑफ अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज या पैरास्टेटल एजेंसीज टुवर्ड द सिटीजन. Municipal. These are the financial instruments that municipal corporation and other associated bodies in India issue to raise fund. Okay. Challenges associated with the capacity building of local bodies. यहाँ पे scale नहीं है. The person engaged in the managing urban affairs and the municipal service, they lack specific skill, especially in the areas like socio-economic planning, sustainable urban planning, financial management, and e-governance. Training curricula. Social planning, economic planning, sustainable urban planning, financial management, and e-governance. Training curricula. Capacity gap in the municipal employee augmented by the capacity building deficit in the training institution. Training curricula or program centric or event based, limiting the agility and further hampering the development of the specific skill. Also, state training institute would focus more on the general administration and rural administration rather than urban governance. Lack of awareness and participation, the disconnect between the citizen and the urban local bodies hamper the effective communication. Discuss the feedback channel from the citizen, which could act as a key motivator for capacity building. Past the Revolution, 73rd and 74th Amendment Act enlists the function of the local governance bodies. However, in the practice, there is a lack of the devolution of financial authority. However, in practice, there is lack of devolution of financial authority, resulting in local authorities having greater responsibility without financial means to fulfill it. Lack of devolution of financial authority. However, in practice, there is a lack of devolution of financial authority. Okay, resulting in local authorities having greater responsibility without financial means to fulfill it. For instance, the poor finance of the Bihar urban local bodies are due to delays in the release of the grant and grant नहीं मिलता, inadequate devolution of the fund and delays in the division of the tax rate and assessment of land holding. Way forward. Training क्या है? पहले तो ट्रेनिंग, क्वालिटी ट्रेनिंग, जो ट्रेनिंग होनी चाहिए वो क्वालिटी ट्रेनिंग, उनका करिकुलम होना चाहिए अच्छा. क्वालिटी ट्रेनिंग मटेरियल ऑफर अ मिक्स ऑफ क्लासरूम बेस्ड ट्रेनिंग एंड ऑन फील्ड ट्रेनिंग और टू बी डिजाइन एंगेज. वी हैव टू एंगेज द प्राइवेट, academic and non-government NGO or training and research organizations can further bridge the shortage of the capacity building institution professionalism. We need to develop a cadre system and provide a very specific training to create a very strong and efficient workforce in municipal department. Example, engineering discipline. Also, lateral hiring of the personnel with special skills can be explored into the municipal cadre, especially the larger urban local bodies, for fostering the greater municipal professionalism. Municipal professionalism. Lateral hiring, special skill, specific training, a strong efficient workforce, awareness generation. Steps should be taken to mobilize the citizen, ensure active participation and generate awareness among the public by organizing campaign. ठीक है, engaging academic institution and NGO sector. Fiscal decentralization. The concept of financial decentralization is a very necessary aspect of effective financial decentralization, very necessary aspect of effective functioning of local governance. The focus should be on effective functioning of local. The focus should be on providing autonomy in matters of expenditure along with resource mobilization as far as possible. This will enhance the local institution ability to allocate funds for training and carry out the developmental task effectively. Conversion. Institutionalizing structures of local bodies to enhance the coordination among the local governance bodies. जो भी इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइजिंग स्ट्रक्चर बनाना चाहिए लोकल बॉडी, जिससे कि कोऑर्डिनेशन बढ़ेगा मतलब लोकल गवर्नेंस बॉडीज एंड ब्रिंग सिनर्जी. कन्वर्जेंस, institutionalized structure, synergy. This will directly increase the institutional as well as the human resource capacity of the urban local bodies. Criminalization of politics. Recently released a report titled Analysis of Sitting MPs from the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha of India 2023 was released. More about it. It was released by the Association for Democratic Reform ADR and National Election Watch. Keep fighting. Sitting MPs with criminal cases. 40% of the sitting MPs have declared criminal cases against in themselves. Sitting MP with criminal cases. Okay, 40% of sitting MPs have declared criminal cases. Sitting MP with serious criminal cases, 25 sitting MPs will declare serious criminal cases against murder, attempt to murder. State with the highest percentage of sitting MPs with criminal cases, highest percentage of sitting MPs with criminal cases are सबसे ज़्यादा लक्षद्वीप के बाद केरला, बिहार, महाराष्ट्र. लक्षद्वीप, then Kerala, फिर बिहार, महाराष्ट्र. So ADR was established, Association for Democratic Reforms and National Election was. ADR was established in 1999 by a group of professors from the Indian IIM Ahmedabad. Its goal is to improve the governance, strengthen democracy by continuous work in the area of electoral and political reform, governance and strengthen democracy. Impact of criminalization of politics. Institutionalized, corrupt and trust erosion. Corruption thrives when the rule of law is disregarded and paired with the criminality of politics. करप्शन तब होता है जब रूल ऑफ लॉ को डिसरिगार्ड करते हैं एंड इट इज पेयर विद द क्रिमिनलिटी ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स. इंडिया रैंक्ड 85th आउट ऑफ द 180 कंट्रीज अकॉर्डिंग टू द 2022 करप्शन परसेप्शन इंडेक्स रिपोर्टेड बाय द ट्रांसपेरेंसी इंटरनेशनल. 2022 में करप्शन परसेप्शन इंडेक्स में इंडिया की रैंक 85th है आउट ऑफ 180. ओके, ट्रांसपेरेंसी इंटरनेशनल ये रिपोर्ट निकालता है. ओके, व्हाट आर द criminalization of politics? What second administrative reform commission उनकी fourth report में इसकी fourth report थी ethics in governance stated at it as a participation of criminal in the electoral process. What are the factors behind the criminalization of the politics? Nexus. There is a nexus between the criminal gang, then police, bureaucracy and politicians. Muscle power. Criminals are used by the political parties and the independent candidate to spend enormous sum of energy on vote buying and other illegal activities. winnability. As per the ADR report, chance of winning is choice compared to other candidates. It denial of justice and the rule of law due to the inordinate delays lasting over years and high cost in the judicial power. Vote bank. The political parties courting criminals and offering them cabinet position in exchange for vote money power due to the low statutory limit for election expenses. Low statutory for election expenses for more expensive candidates often take criminal help. Other factors: corruption and access between the criminals and the politician. Okay, criminalization of the political parties. This is because the criminal element can gain control of the political parties and using them for their benefit. Okay, this is because criminal element control political parties using them for their benefit. In the party democracy also get adversely impacted affects working of investigation and prosecution agency. There is a nexus between the criminal politician nexus between the criminal and the politician. It has a tendency to influence the working of the agency. The Supreme Court in 2017 termed CBI as a caged parrot and his master's voice, declining conviction rate. As per the SC amicus curiae report 2022, 5097 cases are pending against the lawmakers across the country. Amicus curiae report 2022, 5097 cases. Affect conducting of free and fair election due to the use of the money and the muscle power in election by the criminal. The elections are not conducted in a free and a fair manner. मनी यूज़ करते हैं मसल पावर, तो ऐसा फ्री अफेयर में नहीं मैनर में नहीं होता. सेंटर फॉर मीडिया स्टडीज रिपोर्टेड दैट अराउंड 8 बिलियन वाज स्पेंड ड्यूरिंग 2019 इलेक्शन, लोकसभा जनरल इलेक्शन. तो what are the measures to check the criminalization of the political legislative by the section Representative of People Act 1951 का section 8(3) states in lawgiver who sentenced to at least 2 years in jail remain disqualified for 6 years upon their release. Such disqualification is enabled by Article 102 of the Constitution of India, which says a lawmaker can be disqualified under any law enacted by the Parliament. Okay, similar provisions exist for the state under the Article 191. State में 191 और इसमें 102. State में 102, इसमें 102 और इसमें 191. Judicial Autonomy. Union of India versus Association ADR 2002. Supreme Court stated that electors they have a fundamental right to know the antecedent of the candidate. It states the right to be informed as a right flowing from the freedom of speech and expression. People Union of Civil Liberties versus Union of India 2004. Supreme Court declares Section 33B of the Representation of People Act 1951 as unconstitutional and void. Supreme Court declares Section 33B of Representation of People Act 1951 अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल एंड वॉर्ड. रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ पीपल एक्ट ऑफ 1951 में जो सेक्शन 33B है. वेरियस कमिटीज कमीशन ऑफ कमिटीज फॉर एल्टोमेंट एंड एन वोरा कमिटी रिपोर्ट 1993 में ऑन क्रिमिनलाइजेशन ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स स्टेटेड दैट द नेक्सस बिटवीन द criminal gangs, police, bureaucracy and the politician has come out clearly in various parts of the country. As the commission, National Commission to Review the Working of the Constitution 2001 सेकेंड ADRSC सेकेंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रिफॉर्म कमीशन 2008 में आई थी. ओके, द सेक्शन ये जो सेक्शन 33B है वो कहता है द सेक्शन अलाउड द कैंडिडेट टू फर्निश इंफॉर्मेशन ओनली अंडर द एक्ट. ओके, लिली थॉमस वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया के 2003 सुप्रीम कोर्ट अंडर सेक्शन 8(4) ऑफ द रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ द पीपल एक्ट. एक है सेक्शन 8(3). ओके, सेक्शन 8(4) पीपल ऑन 1950 एंड इस अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल. सेक्शन 8(4) कहता है It earlier allowed the convicted MP, MLA and LC to continue in their post provided they appeal against their convictions and in higher court within 3 months of the date of judgment by the trial court. Public Interest Foundation versus Union of India. Supreme Court ordered political parties to publish the criminal record of their candidate on their website, social media handles and newspaper. Ram Babu Singh Thakur versus Sunil Arora 2020. Supreme Court reiterated the court 2018 Public Interest Foundation and directed the Election Commission to report to the Supreme Court on any non-compliance by the political parties, way forward lifetime ban for the convicts from poll. Election Commission of India has mentioned it in the electoral reform proposal published by it in 2004 से 2016. Lifetime ban for convict from polls. Hybrid electoral system as suggested by the 170th Law Commission report on the hybrid system, that is 75% through the first past the post and 25% through the proportional system. As per the expert, first past the post system encourages candidate to spend humongous amount in every election. ठीक है, encourages candidate first past the post. Okay, so hybrid electoral system, ये 170th Law Commission report. Hybrid system 75% through first past the post, 25% through proportional system, first past the post encourages the candidate to spend humongous amount in every election. Punishment for failing or false evidence. Law Commission in its 244 report titled Electoral Disqualification suggested punishment should be enhanced to a minimum 2 years imprisonment, and such an offence must also be made a ground for disqualification. Internal Democracy for Particular National Commission to review the working of the Constitution report suggested a dedicated legislation for inner party democracy as well, amending the Representation of the People Act 1950 to debar the person from contesting election against whom heinous nature crimes are pending. Other reform: right to recall state funding of election, fast tracking the judicial process, etc., for improving the election ecosystem of India. Association for Democratic Reform Area and National Election Board also released report analysis of sitting MP and MLA with declare cases related to hate analysis of sitting MP MLA with declare cases relating to hate speech. A total of 107 current MPs, 33 MLA, 74 have declared cases related to hate speech. About hate speech, the Law Commission report number 267 of March 2017 on hate speech state that hate speech has not been defined in any law in India. However, legal provision in certain legislation as section 153A IPC के 153A-B 295A prohibit the select forms of speech as exceptional to the freedom of speech. Parliamentary privilege to lawmaker. Recently, the Supreme Court set up 7-judge bench headed by the Chief Justice of India for reconsideration of his. Recently क्या किया है सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने? Supreme Court set up 7-judge bench headed by the Chief Justice of India for reconsideration of his 1998 5-judge bench and judgment in the P.V. Narasimha Rao case. The 1998 judgment of the P.V. Narasimha Rao case was a state case came in the backdrop of 1993 Jharkhand Mukti Morcha bribery case. As per the judgment, the legal immunity granted to legislature under Article 105 to 194 of the Constitution 105 194 protect them against the criminal prosecution on bribery charges for any speech or vote in the under Article 105 and 194 of the Constitution. As per the judgment, the legal immunity granted to legislature under Article 105 194 of the Constitution protect them against the criminal prosecution on bribery charges for any speech or vote in the Parliament. Of the Constitution protect them against the criminal prosecution on bribery charges for any speech, bribery, or vote in the Parliament. Supreme Court has not decided to reconsider its precedent. About parliamentary privilege. Parliamentary privilege are the legal immunity enjoyed by the members of legislature in which the legislators are granted protection against the civil or criminal liability for certain action done or statement made in course of their legislative duties. So far, neither Parliament nor any state legislature has enacted any legislation that defines the power, privilege and immunities of the कोई define नहीं कि what are the power, the privileges and immunity or that offense. It should be noted here that the Parliament till now has not made any special law to exhaustively codify all the privileges. They are based on 5 sources, namely constitutional provision, various laws made by the Parliament, rule of both the House, parliamentary conventions, judicial interpretation. They are based on 5 sources, namely constitutional provisions, various laws made by the Parliament. They are based on 5 sources, namely constitutional provision, various laws made by the Parliament, rules of both the Houses, parliamentary convention, judicial interpretation. Here that the Parliament till now has not made any special law to exhaustively codify all the privileges. They are based on 5 sources, namely constitutional provision, various laws made by the Parliament, rule of both the House, parliamentary conventions, judicial interpretation. Breach of privilege. If any individual or authority disregards or undermines a parliamentary privilege of a member of the House, it is called a breach of privilege. If any individual or authority, अगर कोई individual or authority disregards or undermine a parliamentary privilege of a member or the House, it is called a breach of privilege. If an individual or authority disregards or undermine a parliamentary privilege of a member, if an individual or authority disregard or undermine the parliamentary privilege of a member of the House, it is called breach of privilege. Contempt of the House. Breach of privilege is different from contempt of the House. It defined as any act or omission which obstruct or impedes either House of the Parliament the performance of its function, which obstruct or impede any member or officer of such House in a discharge of its duty, which has a tendency directly or indirectly to produce such result. Punishment for a breach of privilege or contempt of the House. A person found guilty of breach of the privilege or the contempt can be reprimanded, walled or sent to prison. The period for which the House can commit an offender to custody or prison for contempt is limited to the duration of the session of the House. In case its member is found guilty, the MPs can be suspended from the House for or face expulsion. It should be noted here that the Parliament till now has not made any special law to exclusively codify all the privileges. They are based on 5 sources. कुछ constitutional provisions हैं which vary certain laws made by the Parliament, rules of both the houses, parliamentary conventions and judicial interpretation. Parliament is the sole authority to ascertain if there has been a breach or contempt of the house. No court is entrusted with this power. तो breach और contempt house का सिर्फ Parliament decide करता है. A member of the house can raise a question involving a breach of the privilege, with the consent member of the house can raise a question which involves a breach of privilege with the consent of the chairman or the speaker. What are the provisions that grant the legislator immunity from prosecution? Extra part. It deals with the power and privilege of both the houses of the parliament and its members and its committee. Similarly, Article 194 outlines the corresponding power, privilege and immunities of the state legislature and the members of the committee. Okay. What are the rationale behind the parliamentary privilege? It ensures attendance of the parliamentary session, ensures freedom of expression of the legislator without the fear of legal consequences, maintain the authority and dignity of the legislature, carry out the functions independently, effectively of both the houses without any interference. Independently, effectively, without any interference. Right to prohibit the publication of the proceeding. Article 105 stipulates that no person shall be liable in respect of the publication by or under the authority of either house or body or of any report, paper, votes or proceeding. A similar provision, right to prohibit publication of proceeding, stipulates that no person shall be liable in respect of the publication by or under the authority of either house. A similar provision exists for the member of legislature of a state under Article 194(2). Freedom of speech in the Parliament. Freedom of speech available to the members on the floor of the House is different from that available to citizens under Article 92. Under Article 105 to say that no member is liable to any proceeding in any court for anything said or any vote given by him in the Parliament. That no person shall be liable in respect of the publication. Right to prohibit publication of proceeding. Okay. For anything said or any vote given by him in the Parliament or his committee, this freedom is subject to the provision of the Constitution and to the rules of the procedure of the Parliament stated in Article 118 of the Constitution. However, Article 121 restricts member from discussing the conduct of judges of the Supreme Court and High Court. कि भाई आप भी discuss नहीं कर सकते हो कुछ भी. Freedom of Press. Code of Civil Procedures (CRPC). Code of Civil Procedure 98 provides that the members can enjoy the freedom from arrest in any civil cases 40 days before and after the adjournment of the House, also when the House is in session. However, this privilege is limited to civil cases only. An MP doesn't enjoy any immunity against the action in a criminal case during the session or otherwise. Privilege based on the rules of the procedure and precedent. Parliament reserve the right to receive immediate information of the arrest, detention, conviction, imprisonment and release of a member on a criminal charge or for a criminal offence. Right to exclude a stranger. Members of the House have the power and the right to exclude strangers who are not the members of the House from the proceeding. This is essential for securing free and fair discussion in the House. Also, as per the provision of Article 122, the validity of any proceeding of the Parliament can't be inquired into by a court on the ground of alleged irregularity of procedure. तो कुछ भी डिस्कस नहीं कर सकते हैं. 121 में भी यही चीज़ कहा गया है. कंडक्ट ऑफ जजेस और सुप्रीम कोर्ट नहीं डिस्कस कर सकते हैं. और 122 में कहा था कि पार्लियामेंट्री द वैलिडिटी ऑफ एनी प्रोसीडिंग ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट दे कान बी इंक्वायर्ड इनटू by a court on the ground of alleged irregularity of procedure. What is the need for the reform in the parliamentary privileges? Applicability. The scope and the limitation of the parliamentary privilege are yet to be ascertained. In some instances, privilege shield lawmakers from prosecution as civil cases cannot be initiated when the House is in session. There have been instances of the misuse of the power and the right of the members of the Parliament and the Legislative Assembly resulting in the violation of the fundamental right of the citizen. Lack of oversight. Absence of a clear mechanism to prevent the members of the House from using the privilege for the personal or official gains or absence of a clear mechanism to prevent the members of the House from using the privileges for personal or official gains or interests. Lack of procedure. Parliament has yet to lay down a set of procedure to deal with instances of the breach of privilege and is solely guided by the exigencies. Set of procedure to deal with the instances of breach. अगर breach of privilege हो गया तो what are the set of procedure that need to be followed? ठीक है. For example, a lack of clarity on whether a hearing must be given to the accused or whether he must be given a right of legal representation. कुछ भी लिखा नहीं. Against the natural justice. Breach of privilege allows politicians to judge their own case. Breach of privilege allows the law allows the politician to judge their. The breach of privilege laws allows the politician to judge their own case. It leads to a conflict of interest. It follows the principle of separation of power under Article 50. Okay, breach of privilege law allows the politician to judge their own case. Allows the politician to judge their own cases. Breach of privilege. It leads to a conflict of interest, violates the principle of separation of power under Article 50 and goes against the tenet of fair trial. Breach of privilege law allows the politician to judge their own case against the violation, while the separation of power leads to conflict of interest. While the constitutionalism, the absence of the codified privilege gives unlimited power to the power to decide on when and how a breach of privilege occurs. Way forward, we need providing immunity to parliamentarians is essential. However, urgent steps are also required to ensure the constitutionalism, such as we need to codify the privilege, establish standard operating procedure in the case of breach of privilege. देखिए कि क्या पूरा follow होगा. Also, Parliament can establish clear boundaries by enacting specific legislation to monitor the misuse of the parliamentary privilege vice member. Interstate water dispute. Recently, the Union Cabinet approved the term of the reference to the Krishna Water Dispute Tribunal 2 under the Interstate River Water Dispute Act of 1956. Krishna Water Dispute 2 will distribute the Krishna water allocated to undivided Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Telangana. Krishna is an east-flowing river that originated at Mahabaleshwar in Maharashtra and merges with the Bay of Bengal, flowing through Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. Also, the Supreme Court criticized the Punjab government for its slow progress in constructing the Sutlej-Yamuna link canal and asked the center to conduct the survey of the land is needed for the canal to access the work state. Sutlej यमुना लिंक कैनाल एसोसिएटेड इशू. सतलेज यमुना लिंक कैनाल ये 214 किलोमीटर लॉन्ग कैनाल है फॉर शेयरिंग द वाटर ऑफ द रावी एंड द ब्यास रिवर or Ravi River and Beas River between the Haryana and the Punjab, of which 122 km was to be in Punjab and 90 km in Haryana. Okay. It was planned in 1966 after Haryana was carved out of Punjab. Haryana completed a stretch of Satluj Yamuna Canal in 1980. While Punjab kept citing riparian principle, non-availability of its water. So riparian principle states that the owner of a land adjacent to a water body has the right to use water. So Punjab argued that many areas in the state may go dry after 2029 due to the over-exploitation of the groundwater. Haryana argued that its southern part of the state are facing water problem due to the depleted groundwater. So it claimed that it has been denied its rightful share in the water. Okay. Krishna Water 1969 में कृष्णा वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल 1 was set up under the Krishna Interstate River Water Dispute Act 1956. It divided the 2060,000 million cubic feet of Krishna water at 75% dependently. 75% dependability of a catchment implies that 2060,000 million cube of water can be reliably extracted from a catchment area and catchment area 75% of the time. Considering the natural variability in water availability due to the factors such as the precipitation, evaporation, infiltration. Precipitation कितना हो रहा है, infiltration और evaporation. ये जो कृष्णा वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल 2 है वो 2004 में आया था. पहला वाला आया था 1969 में, दूसरा वाला 2004 में. एलोकेशन ऑफ कृष्णा वाटर एट 65% डिपेंडली. पहले ने 75% कर दिया था, अब 65% वन सरप्लस फ्लो. 2014 आफ्टर द क्रिएशन ऑफ तेलंगाना एज अ सेपरेट आंध्र प्रदेश आस्क्ड टू इंक्लूड द तेलंगाना एज अ सेपरेट पार्टी एंड दैट द एलोकेशन ऑफ कृष्णा वाटर बी रीवर्क अमंग द 4 स्टेट्स इंस्टेड ऑफ द 3. हाउ महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट नाउ अर्जिंग द तेलंगाना was created following the bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh. Therefore, the allocation of water should be from Andhra Pradesh share, which was approved by the tribunal. ये भी करेक्ट है भाई. अच्छा, ये चीज़ देखो. सबसे पहले रावी एंड ब्यास वाटर ट्रिब्यूनल स्टेट कंसिडर पंजाब हरियाणा राजस्थान. रावी ब्यास पंजाब हरियाणा राजस्थान. नर्मदा वाटर डिस्प्यूट स्टेट कंसिडर राजस्थान, मध्य प्रदेश, गुजरात, महाराष्ट्र. राजस्थान हो गया, मध्य प्रदेश, गुजरात, महाराष्ट्र. उसके बाद है, एक सेकेंड, ऊपर है ये आपकी इंडस के बाद है झेलम, चेनाब, रावी, ब्यास, सतलज. उसके बाद फिर यहाँ पे देखो ये आपकी गंगा की यमुना की चंबल, फिर गंडक आती है, कोसी आती है, ये आपकी सियांग और लोनी मिलके ब्रह्मपुत्र बनाते हैं, ये आपकी महानदी है. वंशधारा वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल स्टेट कंसिडर आंध्र प्रदेश एंड उड़ीसा. वंशधारा वाटर डिस्प्यूट आंध्र प्रदेश उड़ीसा. नीचे आता है गोदावरी वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल. गोदावरी महाराष्ट्र, आंध्र प्रदेश, महाराष्ट्र है गोदावरी में, मध्य प्रदेश भी है भाई. तो ओके, महाराष्ट्र है, मध्य प्रदेश है, कर्नाटका है, महाराष्ट्र, मध्य प्रदेश, आंध्र प्रदेश, कर्नाटका एंड उड़ीसा, ये सारी कंसर्न है. और महादाई ये गोवा, कर्नाटका एंड महाराष्ट्र. कृष्णा वाटर डिस्प्यूट कर्नाटका, आंध्र प्रदेश, महाराष्ट्र एंड तेलंगाना. कावेरी वाटर डिस्प्यूट केरला, कर्नाटका, तमिलनाडु, पुडुचेरी. ओके. Factors responsible for the interstate water dispute is symmetrical access to river water. When a river flows across a boundary between a state, the upstream state is usually at an advantage, creating an asymmetry between the upstream and the downstream state. Rising water demand. The total water demand in India is projected to increase by 22% and 32% in 2025 में 22% बढ़ेगा और 2050 में 32% बढ़ेगा. 22% बढ़ जाएगा डिमांड, और 50 में 32% respectively. The rising demand has put a stress on the limited water reserve, further aggravating the interstate water dispute. Lack of clarity on the water users' right. Under Schedule 7 of the Indian Constitution, 7th में, the power to use water for the storage, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के लिए इरिगेशन इज मेंशन अंडर स्टेट लिस्ट एंड इंटरस्टेट वाटर इन द यूनियन लिस्ट. तो अगर मतलब वाटर को पावर, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, वाटर को स्टोरेज, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, इरिगेशन के लिए यूज़ करना, ये स्टेट लिस्ट में आता है. लेकिन अगर कोई इंटर स्टेट वाटर है तो वो यूनियन लिस्ट में जाता है. हाउ दिस पावर इंटरकनेक्टेड एंड यूजेस ऑफ वन स्टेट एफ यूज बाय द अदर स्टेट दैट्स क्रिएटिंग द एम्बिग्यूटी ऑन द वाटर यूजेस राइट. तो क्लैरिटी नहीं है. तो राइजिंग वाटर डिमांड, लैक ऑफ एन इंटीग्रेटेड वाटर गवर्नेंस आर्किटेक्चर इन इंडिया इज बेस्ड ऑन अ फ्रेगमेंटेड पीसमिल अप्रोच. बहुत ही फ्रेगमेंटेड वाटर गवर्नेंस फ्रेगमेंटेड पीसमिल अप्रोच फॉलो करता है. इट रिलाइज ऑन न्यूमेरिकल मेजर्स सच एज अरिथमेटिक, हाइड्रोलॉजी, surplus deficit, ignoring the social, ecological and cultural process associated with water. Other issues. Minimum support price of rice and wheat led to a manifold increase in water demand, thereby resulting in interstate water conflict. Krishna Kaveri Teesta Basin or SYL between Punjab and Haryana. Krishna Kaveri Teesta Basin. Minimum support price of rice and wheat led to a manifold increase in the minimum support price of the rice and wheat led to a manifold increase in water demand, thereby resulting in interstate water conflict between the Krishna Kaveri Teesta basin of the or settlement between Punjab and Haryana. The boundaries of a state in India have continued to alter based on the cultural as well as the political factor. What are the mechanisms to deal with the interstate water dispute? Under the 7th schedule of the Constitution, entry 17 on the state list read, water, that is to say water supplies, irrigation, canal, drainage, embankment, water storage, water power project, subject to the provision of under the 7th schedule, entry 17 on the state list, water, that is to say water supplies, irrigation, canal, drainage, embankment, water storage, water power, subject to the provision of entry 56 of the list 1 or union list. Entry 56 of list 1 provides that regulation and development of interstate rivers and the river valley to the extent to which such regulation and development under the control of the union is declared by the parliament by law to be executed in the public interest. Article 262, it is stated that the parliament by law may provide for the adjudication of any dispute or complaint with respect to the use, distribution or control over the water. Use, distribution or control over the water. It is stated that the parliament by law may provide for the Article 262 states that the parliament by law may provide for the adjudication of any dispute or complaint with adjudication of any dispute or complaint with respect to the use, distribution or control over the water. Parliament by law may provide for the adjudication of any dispute or complaint with respect to the use, distribution or control over or any interstate river or river valley. In the exercise of the power conferred by the Article 262 of the Constitution, Parliament has entered into law. Interstate Water Dispute Act 1950 is under a state government which has a water dispute with another state government may request the central government to refer to the dispute to a tribunal for adjudication. Then River Board Act of 1956, it was made for the setting up of river board by the central government. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट क्या बनाएगा? रिवर बोर्ड फॉर द रेगुलेशन डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द रेगुलेट करेगा एंड डेवलप करेगा इंटर स्टेट रिवर इन द रिवर वैली. नेशनल वाटर पॉलिसी 2022 इट सीक टू एड्रेस इश्यूज ऑफ सच एज स्कार्सिटी ऑफ वाटर, इनइक्विटीज इन इट्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, लैक ऑफ यूनिफाइड पर्सपेक्टिव इन प्लानिंग, management and use of water resource. What are the challenges associated with resolving interstate water dispute? Delay resolution. There are prolonged proceedings, very delays in the disposal of the river water dispute. For example, it took 11 years for the Godavari water dispute tribunal to give its decision. Ambiguity. Under Article 260, the river deters the Supreme Court from adjudicating interstate river water dispute. However, Article 136 empowers the Supreme Court to hear appeal against the tribunal's order, further causing ambiguity in the implementation of the tribunal order. तो 262 कहता है भाई पार्लियामेंट डिसाइड करेगा, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का इंटरफेरेंस नहीं रहेगा. लेकिन 136 आर्टिकल 136 में लिखा गया है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ट्रिब्यूनल के ऑर्डर के अगेंस्ट कोई भी प्रोसीडिंग क्या कर सकता है. पॉलिटिसाइजेशन ऑफ डिस्प्यूट. सम पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज आर यूजिंग इंटरस्टेट वाटर डिस्प्यूट as avenues for pursuing political goal. Lack of multidisciplinary approach. Tribunals in India primarily consist of members from the judiciary, thus lacks input from the specialists. Tribunals in India primarily consist of the members from judiciary, thus it lacks input from the specialists such as ecologists, hampering the quality of the orders. Way forward. Enabling cooperation. Fundamental strategic shift away from the current reliance on conflict resolution is required. Also, there is a need for deeper integration of state in deliberative process and strengthening cooperative federalism. Fundamental strategic shift away from the current reliance on conflict resolution is required. Also, there is a need for deeper integration of state in deliberative process and strengthening cooperative federalism. We need to strengthen cooperative federalism, deliberative process based on approach. A focus on ecological restoration, conservation of river ecosystem, balancing of water supply and demand for human use, as well as regional approach for effective management of water. We need to focus on ecological restoration, conservation of the ecosystem, balancing the water supply, demand for human use, regional approach. Multidisciplinary approach. Institutional structure such as water management board should include experts from multiple disciplines such as environmentalists, geographers, etc. So this will enhance the efficiency of the water board in providing ecological and environmental friendly solution. Water policy. To resolve the water dispute on reasonable and equitable lines, certain parameters must be made part of the water policy. These parameters include the extent of the river basin. These parameters include the extent of the river basin drainage area in a state, contribution of water to the river basin by each state. Water policy. To resolve the water dispute on very reasonable, equitable lines, certain parameters must be made. These include the extent of the river basin drainage area in state, contribution of water to the river basin by state, climate कैसा है, dependent population of the river basin, extent of the area and semi areas in each state. Rural technology in the public service delivery. Okay, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India emphasize the need for increasing the use of the IT system and technology in the service delivery into the citizen. Technology and the link with public service delivery. Digital government services, also called e-government, are defined as service delivery within the government as well as between the government and the public using information, communication and technology, that is ICT. Traditionally, government services have been delivered in person by individual department in different locations and often using the paper form. Traditionally, government services have been delivered in person by individual department in different location and often using the paper form. With a digital service, government can deliver the information and services to the citizen anytime, anywhere, on any platform or device. Digital service. पहले क्या था, पर्सनल इंडिविजुअल डिपार्टमेंट होता था, हैव बीन डिलीवर्ड इन पर्सन बाय इंडिविजुअल डिपार्टमेंट इन डिफरेंट लोकेशन एंड ऑफ यूजिंग पेपर फॉर्म. With digital service, government can deliver citizen and services to citizen, information and services to citizen anywhere, anytime, on any platform or device. ठीक है. Different types of ICT application for rural area. सबसे पहले गरीबी, poverty, hunger, healthcare, education. Improve access to the social service, expanded the reach बढ़ाओ, better quality दो, better targeting करो, community involvement, better allocation of the development expenditure. ठीक है. Expenditure, better allocation of development expenditure, greater accountability. Enhance income for the poor. Okay. Economic opportunities, better price, access to market, credit knowledge, better prices, access to market, credit, knowledge, skill development. Transparency and empowerment through information dissemination, access to e-delivery of transactional service, providing entitlement to subsidized social service, improve governance of the social service, health, education, reduce cost, efficient supply. तो क्या हो गया, improve access to social service, community को involve करेंगे, enhance income, economic opportunities, transparency, empowerment, access to e-delivery and improve governance. So basically इतने पॉइंट है हमारे पास, 4, 5, 6, 7 पॉइंट है. Okay, next है significance of technology in the service delivery. It saves time and money for the citizen as they need not travel to different government offices and stand in the queues to get their work done. Hastakshar service facilitates the instant of e-signing of document online by the citizen in a legally acceptable form without having to visit the government offices. Increase the efficiency of the government department as the digital record can be shared very easily and maintained for the legal reference. So efficiency बढ़ जाती है. Vehicle data from different state registers are collected and processed in Vahan platform of the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. Eliminate the ghost beneficiaries and the leakage to a large extent as the digital record can be updated dynamically. Ghost beneficiary जो मतलब जिन मर भी गए हैं लेकिन उनको मिला जा रहा है, and leakages to a large extent as the digital record can be updated dynamically and the leakage can be traced back easily. The linking of the Aadhaar card to the respective job card of Manrega. The linking of Aadhaar card to the respective job cards of Manrega. The linking the Aadhaar card to the respective job card of Manrega. Okay, the lacks of ghost beneficiaries were identified. जैसे हमने लिंक किया बहुत सारे ghost beneficiaries and they were removed. Increase the accountability and reduce corruption. As the origin or the initiator of the particular transaction can be traced back to the system where it began. So detailed information available to citizen in the platform enable them to understand the rules, regulation better. अगर बहुत ही डिटेल इन्फॉर्मेशन रहती है अवेलेबल टू सिटीजन द प्लेटफॉर्म enable them to understand the rules and regulation better and even raise complaints on erring officer. The combination of data harnessed from various centers can be mined to design better public policies. The linking of the PAN Aadhaar card help the exchequer to collect data on person earning above a threshold income for reducing the black money and increasing the tax collection. Technological challenges in service digital divide among the people. where a majority of them are yet to get accustomed to digital wording and application. Digital divide बहुत ज़्यादा, lack of the skilled workforce within the government, which make it difficult for them to adopt technology at a major scale. Cyber security threat as major concern, as these services are also to be handled. Important data of government and the public, lack of sufficient digital infrastructure in the government establishment. Government establishment में digital infrastructure कम है. Lack of interoperability in most service make them work in isolation rather than as a collective network. We need to enhance the digital literacy among the population and the highlighting its advantage in the society. Enhance digital literacy, highlighting its importance and advantage. Highlighting its advantage and importance. Creating a skilled workforce through various skilling programs in order to meet the demand. Legal framework to enhance the data protection within the country. Legal framework to enhance the data protection within the country. अगर लीगल फ्रेमवर्क अच्छा होगा तो डेटा प्रोटेक्शन बढ़िया होगा. लीगल framework data protection. Okay, enhancing the cyber security infrastructure in the country, improving the digital infrastructure, enhancing the interoperability. Improve digital infrastructure, enhancing the interoperability of the service to widen the scope of the service. Consumer protection in India. Why news? Recent findings suggest that the pendency in the Consumer Commission has shown a declining trend from 5.55 lakh in December 2022 to 5.45 lakh in September 2023. Right of a consumer as given by the Consumer Protection Act. Right to be informed, right to be heard. Consumer informed, right to be heard, right to be consumer education, right to safety, right to choose, right to redress. Responsibility of a consumer. Kind of consumer responsibility. Consumer must exercise their right. They need to be very cautious. They can file complaints of genuine grievances. Insist on the bill. Consumer must be quality conscious. Do not be affected by the advertisement. Cautious consumers do not buy blindly. ठीक है, ये कितने राइट है हमारे पास? 6. इन्फॉर्म्ड, हर्ड, सेफ्टी, एजुकेशन, चूज, रिट्रेस. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ क्या है? दे मस्ट एक्सरसाइज देयर राइट, दे नीड टू बी वेरी कॉन्शियस, जेन्युइन कंप्लेन करें, क्वालिटी कॉन्शियस रहें, एडवर्टाइजमेंट से इफेक्ट मत हो, एंड डू नॉट क्रिएट कॉशियस कंज्यूमर डू नॉट बाय बाइंडली एंड इंसिस्ट ऑन द बिल. अब कंज्यूमर क्या होता है? हैज़ शोन अ डिक्लाइन 10 from 5.545. Okay. Under the Consumer Protection Act 2019 पे, a consumer is a person who buys any goods or avails any service for a consideration which has been paid or promised or partly paid or partly promised or under any scheme of a deferred payment. It applies to both offline transaction, online transaction through electronic means or by teleshopping or direct selling or multi-level marketing. However, any person who obtains goods or avails service for resale or for resale or commercial purpose is not treated as a consumer and is outside the scope of CPA. Okay, need for the consumer protection in India, informed choice. There has been an increase in the supply of duplicate and defective products in the market. So Consumer Protection Authority through its compliance mechanism and rules encourages the information dissemination about the product. Checking malpractice, we have to prevent and combat as unfair trade practices as black marketing and hoarding and keep a check on practices that manipulate the market prices. Okay, where there has been an increase in the supply of the duplicate and defective products in the market, we need to prevent and combat the unfair trade practices such as black marketing and hoarding and keep a check on practice that manipulates the market prices. Prevent, combat unfair trade practices, black marketing, hoarding, and all these practices manipulate the trade market prices. For instance, some drug manufacturers charge high premium on essential medicine, negatively affecting the consumer. Some pharmaceutical companies misuse their patent right to exploit consumer. Misleading advertising. Many business purposefully deceive consumers by presenting deceptive false advertisement, giving consumer an incorrect or partial understanding of a product or a service, thus violating the consumer the right to know about what they are buying. Grievance redressal. To provide effective redressal mechanism for consumers and address the complaint in cases such as the sale of unrelated products and simultaneously hold the business accountable. Economic growth and competition. Consumer protection contributes to dynamic and effective market for business to grow. Consumer protection contributes to dynamic and effective market for business to grow. अगर कंज्यूमर को प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे तो डायनेमिक एंड इफेक्टिव मार्केटिंग dynamic and effective market. The resultant consumer demand in turn drive innovation and economic development as businesses are required to maintain a fair price and good quality of their product and services. The resultant consumer demand in turn drives innovation and economic development as businesses are required to maintain fair prices and good quality of their product service. Okay. Economic growth. Consumer protection contribute to dynamic and effective consumer protection होगा अगर तो डायनेमिक और इफेक्टिव मार्केट फॉर बिजनेस को रिजल्ट इन कंज्यूमर डिमांड इन टर्न ड्राइव अगर कंज्यूमर डिमांड बढ़ेगी तो इनोवेशन बढ़ेगा, इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट बढ़ेगा, बिजनेस आर रिक्वायर्ड टू मेंटेन फेयर प्राइसेस एंड गुड क्वालिटी ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट एंड द सर्विसेज. फेयर प्राइसेस, गुड क्वालिटी, innovation, economic development. What are the measures taken for the consumer protection in India? Consumer Protection Act 2000, it provides for the Central Consumer Protection Authority to regulate matters relating to violation of the right to the consumer and unfair trade practices. Consumer Protection Jurisdiction of District Commission, State Commission, National Commission Rule 2021 to provide simple, speedy, inexpensive redressal of consumer dispute. Consumer Protection Act 2000 envisages a three-tier quasi-judicial mechanism at national, state and district level. So simple, speedy and inexpensive redressal. CONFOR-NET project. It stands for the computerization and computer networking of consumer fora in the country. Computerization, computer networking of consumer fora in the country. It was implemented in the backdrop of the Consumer Protection Act of 1986. It aims to improve the operational efficiency, coordination, accessibility, speed in judicial administration and to set up ICT infrastructure and the consumer redressal mechanism all over the India. CONFOR-NET project 1986 वाला. ठीक है, computerization and the computer network of networking of consumer fora in the country. Integrated grievance redressal mechanism. Integrated Ingram portal. Integrated grievance redressal mechanism. Integrated grievance address mechanism Ingram portal developed under the aegis of Department of Consumer Affairs to create awareness, advise consumer, redress consumer grievances and act as a central registry for lodging consumer grievances. Awareness, advise, redress consumer grievances. Create awareness, advise and redress the consumer grievances. Department of Consumer Affairs awareness, advise and redress consumer grievances and act as a central registry for lodging consumer grievances. E-Dakil portal provide hassle-free, speedy, inexpensive facility to consumers around the country to conveniently approach the relevant consumer forum and dispensing the need to travel and be physically present. Certification markers to protect and sensitize consumers regarding the quality. Certification markers to protect as well as the sensitize consumers regarding the quality standard. Now, digital certification in India. Certification mark on a commercial product are usually called a mark for validity or assurance of the fact that the manufacturer has trusted the product and has ensured that it meets the given quality standard. Bureau of Indian Standards, which comes under the aegis of the ISO, International Organization for Standardization, governs all the industrial standardization, industrial product certification in India. Industria. ये ISI मार्क है, ये भी BIS देता है. कंज्यूमर ड्यूरेबल गुड, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक आइटम, किचन अप्लायंसेज, एग मार्क्ड बाय द डायरेक्टरेट ऑफ मार्केटिंग एंड इंस्पेक्शन, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर फॉर एग्रीकल्चर कमोडिटीज एंड लाइफ स्टॉक प्रोडक्ट, इशूड बाय डायरेक्टरेट ऑफ मार्केटिंग एंड इंस्पेक्शन. BIS hallmark by BIS for gold jewelry. BIS hallmark gold jewelry. Wool mark signifies 100% pure wool. ये इको मार्क्स इशूड बाय द BIS फॉर इन्वायरमेंटल फ्रेंडली प्रोडक्ट. FPO मार्क इशूड बाय द फूड सेफ्टी स्टैंडर्ड ओनली फॉर फूड प्रोडक्ट. इंडियन ऑर्गेनिक यह भी लॉन्च हुआ है बाय द अपीडा, एग्रीकल्चर एंड प्रोसेस फूड प्रोडक्ट एक्सपोर्ट डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी फॉर ऑर्गेनिकली फार्म Indian product. One of the challenges to the consumer protection in independence again, despite the decreasing trend and the absolute number of pending cases at both the state and the national level is due the result in long waiting period, delay in dispute resolution, vacancies in institutions. There is a lack of infrastructure and manpower in consumer forum. For example, in Pune Delhi city, leading to inefficiency in addressing the consumer complaint. Infrastructure नहीं है, manpower नहीं है. Absolute number of there is a lack of infrastructure and manpower in consumer forum, leading to inefficiency in addressing consumer complaint. Infrastructure नहीं है, manpower नहीं है, inefficiency in addressing consumer complaint. Issue of clarity with respect to roles and the power. There is a lack of clarity regarding the Central Consumer Protection Authority role related to the investigation and inquiries and search and seizure function. Also, the scope of the Central Consumer Protection Authority powers in matters of investigation leading to the product recall or penalization of the manufacturer is unclear. Issue of clarity vis-a-vis roles and the power. There is a lack of clarity regarding the Central Consumer Protection Authority roles related to investigation and inquiries and search and seizure function. Investigation, inquiry, search and seizure. Also, the scope of Central Consumer Protection Authority scope of powers in matters of investigation leading to the product recall or penalization of the manufacturer is unclear. Right was due to the realization of the consumer responsibility towards ensuring the protection of their own interests along with the development of conscious consumerism in the essence of consumer protection. However, the CPA does not lay down the consumer duties and responsibilities exclusively. Government should collaborate with the manufacturers, distributors and the consumer organization to develop advertising codes and standard for regulating information provided right versus duty. Okay, issues of clarity vis-a-vis roles and the power. There is a very vacancy by the pendency case है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं है, मैन पावर में कमी है इन कंज्यूमर फोरम, ठीक है, इनफिशियंसी है, इशू ऑफ क्लैरिटी vis-a-vis रोल्स एंड देयर इज अ लैक ऑफ क्लैरिटी रिगार्डिंग द सेंट्रल कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन अथॉरिटी रोल्स इज इन्वेस्टिगेटेड टू क्या इन्वेस्टिगेट करना, इनकरेज द सर्च एंड सीजर फंक्शन, ऑल्सो द स्कोप ऑफ, तो इनकी फंक्शंस में, इनके रोल्स और पावर्स में इन क्लैरिटी नहीं है. तो द स्कोप ऑफ द सीसी पे पावर इन मैटर ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन लीडिंग टू द प्रोडक्ट रिकॉल और penalization of the manufacturer is unclear. Right for the realization of the consumer responsibility towards ensuring the protection of their own interest around the development of a conscious consumerism. That is the essence of consumer protection. However, the CPA does not lay down the consumer duties and response. Consumer की क्या ड्यूटी है, उनकी क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, वो नहीं लिखा हुआ है. Way forward, advertisement. Government should collaborate with manufacturer, distributor and consumer organization to develop advertising code and standard for regulating the information and providing in advertisement. ठीक है, तो एडवर्टाइजमेंट को रेगुलेट करना पड़ेगा भाई. सेफ्टी एंड क्वालिटी. नेशनल स्टैंडर्ड एंड रेगुलेशन फॉर द प्रोडक्ट सेफ्टी एंड क्वालिटी शुड बी रिव्यूड रेगुलेटेड टू इंश्योर conformity with the international standard. Awareness for safeguarding the well-being and the interest of the consumer through education, mobilization and representation. We need to safeguard the well-being as well as the interest. Education, mobilization and representation. The government in collaboration with NGO should publish periodical to impart knowledge about the consumer problem, legal reporting, redress measures and organize awareness campaign. जागो ग्राहक जागो. कंज्यूमर प्रॉब्लम, उनको कोई प्रॉब्लम है तो उसे रिपोर्ट कैसे करना है, रिटर्स कैसे कर लेना है. रोल्स एंड पॉलिटिक्स. सेंट्रल कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन अथॉरिटी रोल्स ऑन कंसर्निंग इन्वेस्टिगेशन, इंक्वायरी, सर्च एंड सीजर ऑपरेशन शुड बी क्लियरली आउटलाइन इन मैटर्स सच एज प्रोडक्ट रिकॉल, अपील एक्सेट्रा. एनलिस्टेड ड्यूटी रिकॉल्यूशन एंड कैन एक्सप्लिसिटली मेंशन द कंज्यूमर ड्यूटी टू गाइड टू एंश्योर अ रिस्पॉन्सिबल कंज्यूमर इकोसिस्टम. फॉर एग्जांपल, द जमैकन गवर्नमेंट रिकॉग्नाइजेस बोथ राइट एंड ड्यूटीज ऑफ द कंज्यूमर, कि उनके राइट एंड ड्यूटीज़ क्या हैं, and publishes these on the official website. ST, Scheduled Tribes and other traditional forest dwellers recognition of Forest Right Act 2006. Recently, it has been reported that the states have rejected nearly 40% of the land claim under the Forest Right Act. Forest Right Act 2006. Before the enactment of this, earlier act did not recognize the symbiotic relationship of the scheduled tribe with the forest and the dependence on the forest. Section 31A of the Forest Right Act. Section 331A recognize the right of the forest dwelling tribal communities, forest dwelling scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers to hold and live in the forest land for the habitation or for self cultivation for livelihood or for self cultivation for livelihood. Significance of the it gave legal right to the claims of the forest dwelling scheduled tribes, other traditional forest dweller, right of the displaced communities, community rights of the right over the common property resource, recognized right over developmental activities, right to intellectual property and traditional knowledge related to the biodiversity and cultural diversity. Section 31A. Type of the right under Section 3 of the Forest Right Act. Individual forest right, community forest right. In the right to hold and live in the forest land under the individual or the common occupation for habitation or for self-cultivation for livelihood. Habitation, self-cultivation, livelihood. Community forest right seeks to restore all the customary and traditional usufructional right on the forest dwelling. जितने भी customary और traditional right थे उसे restore करना है. Okay, it will be within the traditional or the customary boundaries of the village, traditional boundary of the village, customary boundary of the village, irrespective of the ownership, classing on the size of the forest. Community forest resource management right. Community forest right of the ownership, access to collect, then use and dispose of the minor forest produce which has been traditionally collected within or outside the village boundaries. As per the responsibility for the implementation of regulations with the state government of the duty administration, the role of the Gram Sabha is the authority to initiate the process for determining the nature and the extent of an individual or the community forest right or both. क्या nature होगा और कितने extent तक right रहेगा for the individual and the community right or both. Land title. Act recognizes the right of the individual or the family of the right of the individual or his family or a community on the land. However, the claim should not exceed more than 4 hectares. Land title given under the FRA is a legal title, and land right conferred by the Act were heritable. Section 4 of Forest Right Act, but not transferable. आप हेरिट कर सकते हो, ठीक है, हेरिटेबल है, बट ट्रांसफरेबल और एलिनेबल नहीं है. डोंगरिया कोन आदिवासी यूज फॉरेस्ट राइट एक्ट इन 2013 टू प्रोटेक्ट देयर सीक्रेट लैंड्स इन द नियमगिरी फॉरेस्ट ऑफ उड़ीसा एंड रिजेक्टेड द वेदांता बॉक्साइट माइनिंग प्रोजेक्ट. डोंगरिया कोन आदिवासी यूज फॉरेस्ट राइट इन 2013 टू प्रोटेक्ट देयर सीक्रेट लैंड इन द नियमगिरी फॉरेस्ट ऑफ उड़ीसा. उड़ीसा में एक फॉरेस्ट है नियमगिरी फॉरेस्ट, वहाँ पे एक ट्राइब रहती है डोंगरिया कोंद, एंड रिजेक्टेड द वेदांतास बॉक्साइट माइनिंग प्रोजेक्ट. वेदांता वहाँ पे अपना बॉक्साइट माइनिंग प्रोजेक्ट लगाना चाह रहा था, उन्होंने ऐसी तैसी कर दी. सो अर्लियर इन उड़ीसा माइनिंग कॉर्पोरेशन वर्सेज यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया, सुप्रीम कोर्ट डायरेक्टेड दैट द ग्राम सभा ऑफ द रीजन विल डिसाइड अबाउट द प्रोजेक्ट. ओके, तो फॉरेस्ट राइट लीगल टाइटल है सक्सेसफुल, लेकिन वो हेरिटेबल है, एलिनेबल नहीं है. डिवीजन ऑफ फॉरेस्ट लैंड फॉर द डेवलपमेंट फॉर लोकल डेवलपमेंट राइट, एस्टेब्लिशमेंट ऑफ स्कूल, डिस्पेंसरी, हॉस्पिटल, आंगनवाड़ी सेक्टर. सो फॉरेस्ट लैंड थोड़ा डाइवर्ट कर सकते हैं फॉर द लोकल डेवलपमेंट. 3 टायर अप्रूवल प्रोसेस है. ग्राम सभा प्राइमरी अथॉरिटी फॉर इंजीनियरिंग द होल प्रोसेस बाय रिसीविंग एंड वेरीफाइंग द क्लेम. एग्रीव पर्सन फ्रॉम द रेजोल्यूशन ऑफ द ग्राम सभा में फाइल अ petition to the sub division level committee. Any person aggrieved by the decision of the sub division level committee may file a complaint to the district level committee. किसी को कोई प्रॉब्लम है, एनी पर्सन एग्री बाय द डिसीजन ऑफ द सब डिवीजन लेवल कमिटी, वो डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल कमिटी डिसीजन ऑफ द डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल कमिटी, द रिकॉर्ड ऑफ द फॉरेस्ट राइट शैल बी फाइनल एंड बाइंडिंग. शेड्यूल एरिया, तो सबसे पहले ग्राम सभा है. अग्री पर्सन फॉर द रेजोल्यूशन ऑफ ग्राम सभा वो सब डिवीजन लेवल कमिटी, सब डिवीजन लेवल डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल कमिटी, उनका डिसीजन फाइनल बाइंडिंग. शेड्यूल एरिया in act mean the scheduled area refer to an article 244 of the constitution. Protected area forest right act is applicable to national park, wildlife sanctuary and tiger reserve as well. क्या वहाँ पे applicable है? हाँ. Concerns related to the land claims related document with proof. Many IFR claims were rejected because applicant did not provide adequate documentary evidence of the use of the land. According to section 2C of the forest right act, to qualify the forest dweller scheduled tribe must be a scheduled tribe in the area where the right is claimed and primarily resided in the forest of the forest land prior to 13/12/2005, depend on the forest or the forest land for the bona fide livelihood work. Inconsistency in acreage claimed and acreage allocated. For example, as per the World Bank report in Narmada district, Gujarat, around 70% claimants reported that the IFR claim was approved for lesser acreage. Low awareness. The Gram Sabha, which initiated the verification of the forest dwelling scheduled tribe and other traditional forest right claim, are low on awareness about how to deal with them. And analysis of forest right implementation in Jammu and Kashmir between September 2021 May 2020 highlighted that more than 92.5% of the rejected claims have been declined by the Gram Sabha only. Also, the locals being illiterate and living in remote areas, so FDSC noted they do not know the appropriate procedure for filing the claims. Other concerns of the Act: forest land encroachment, misuse of the Gram Sabha for approval for ineligible claimants and regularizing the encroachment made after 13/12/2005. When the application gets rejected, applicants file an appeal and the case drags on for years and remain encroached. Violation of the FRA provision. Earlier titles were randomly issued in the name of Joint Forest Management Committee or the Panchayat bodies. For example, in CFR titles were issued to 10 villages in the Deori Taluk of Gondia district of Maharashtra, showed that the DLC had issued Deoria Taluk of Gondia district level committee has issued titles in the name of the Panchayat instead of the Gram Sabha. Lack of coordination. As per the Act, subdivision level committee and district level committee and state level monitoring committee shall consist of officers of the Department of Revenue, Forest and Tribal Affairs. रेवेन्यू के भी होंगे, फॉरेस्ट के भी होंगे, ट्राइबल अफेयर्स के. होते लैक कोऑर्डिनेशन टू फुलफिल द ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है, उनके बीच में कोऑर्डिनेशन ही नहीं है. डिस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ फॉरेस्ट एंड द वाइल्ड. एनवायरमेंटल कंजर्वेशन रेज कंसर्न दैट द फॉरेस्ट राइट एक्ट ड्यू टू इट्स लैंड राइट एंड द माइनर फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस यूज माइट अफेक्ट द बायोडाइवर्सिटी ऑफ द फॉरेस्ट. इन सेवरल केसेस ट्रीज ऑन द फॉरेस्ट लैंड आर चॉप्ड एंड क्लेम्स आर मेड अंडर द FRA. Way forward. Issuing directive under the FRA aid, the center can issue directive to state to ensure a review exercise in line with the law in case of such high rejection rate of claim. कि भाई आप सबके राइट ही रिजेक्ट करते जा रहे हो तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है, रिव्यू करो. लर्निंग विद द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. उड़ीसा गवर्नमेंट मो जंगल जमी योजना implementation of the scheme will provide ownership of land and access to forest resource to the beneficiary. Implementation. Odisha's government Mo Jangal Jami Yojana implementation of the scheme will provide ownership of land and access to forest resource to the beneficiaries. Awareness generation among the Gram Sabha, the forest right committees, IFR, CFR claimants about the Forest Right Act and its rules and regulations need to be improved. Capacity building of the Gram Sabha. As Gram Sabha is the primary authority of approval, there is need to improve the capacity through training and effective use of local policy. ग्राम सभा जो है वो प्राइमरी अथॉरिटी है ऑफ अप्रूवल का, सो देयर इज अ नीड टू इम्प्रूव द कैपेसिटी थ्रू देयर ट्रेनिंग एंड इफेक्टिव, जो कि 97% क्लेम तो वही रिजेक्ट कर रहे हैं. इन्वॉल्विंग मार्जिनल सेक्शंस लाइक वुमेन, इंक्रीजिंग द रोल ऑफ सिविल सोसाइटी, न्यूज एंड लॉ शॉर्ट. ओके. अनलॉफुल एसोसिएशन. Ministry of Home Affairs declared Jammu and Kashmir Democratic Freedom Party as unlawful association under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 1967. UAPA was enacted for effective prevention of certain unlawful activities of individuals and associations for dealing with terrorist activity and for matters connected therewith. Key provision. Offences are cognizable. The arrest could be made without a warrant. Death or the imprisonment for life and shall be liable to a fine if such act has resulted in the death of any person. Unlawful association. Declaration of an association unlawful by the center through an official gazette notification by specifying the ground. Reference to tribunal. On the declaration of being unlawful, the notification should be referred to the tribunal within the 30 days. एक ट्रिब्यूनल पे जाएगी. ट्रिब्यूनल कंसिस्ट ऑफ 1 person, a judge of a high court. Other powers to center to prohibit the use of the fund of an unlawful association to notify places is to notify places used for the purpose of an unlawful association. Terrorist Act. It includes any act intended to threaten the unity, integrity, security, sovereignty of India or strike terror people in India or in any foreign country, among the other. Forfeiture of the proceeds of terrorism by the investigation officer with the forfeiture of proceeds by the investigation officer with the prior approval of the designated authority. Online registration of the FIR. 282. Report of the amendment in section 154 of the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973. Code of Criminal Procedure. एक है Code of Civil Procedure, एक है Code of Criminal Procedure. Code of Criminal Procedure 1973 वाला for enabling online registration of FIR submitted by the Second Law Commission of the Ministry of Law and Justice. 282 report. Under Section 154, the Code of Criminal Procedure 1970 governs how the first information about the commission of a cognizable offence is regarded. Recommendation: EFI can be enabled in a very phased manner. Registration of EFI is to be permitted for all cognizable offences where the accused is not known or attracting punishment up to 3 years where the accused is known. ठीक है. State have the power to expand the list of the offences. Privacy of the parties to be ensured. Verification of the information complainant and punishment for false information. E-complaint to be allowed for all non-cognizable offence. EFIR be enabled in a phased manner for cognizable offences. Non-cognizable के E-complaint होंगे. Complainant means any allegation made orally or in writing to the magistrate with a view to his taking action under the code. Captive willing to be given for a significant. Citizens can report the crime conveniently and efficiently. Complainant can also check the timely status of the complaint online. It helped in reducing the footfall at the police station. Center claims Aadhaar as the most trusted digital ID in the world. Refuting the claims made by an investor servicing agency, the center has claimed that Aadhaar is foolproof. Aadhaar एक 12-digit individual identification number होता है by Uday. The collected data is secured in the central identities data repository of Uday. Key features of Aadhaar: uniqueness. The biometric deduplication avoids multiple card issue for same information. Uniqueness. The biometric deduplication. ठीक है. यूनिकनेस. Center claims Aadhaar as the most trusted digital. Revision the claim by the investor service agency that the center has claimed that Aadhaar is foolproof. Aadhaar is 12 digits unique. एक individual identification number issued by the owner. The collected data is secured by the central identities data repository. Central identity data repository of the owner. Uniqueness. The biometric deduplication avoids multiple card issue for same information. Random number. The generated number is random and devoid of any detail like caste, income, religion or income architecture. It is open and scalable. The current authentication service can handle 100 million authentication a day. Architecture is open, scalable, 100 million authentication measures taken to ensure safety of the Aadhaar. Uday has introduced a 2-layer security mechanism for Aadhaar-based fingerprint authentication to secure Aadhaar. 2-layer. Okay. Next है Parliament has laid down the robust privacy protection in the law governing the Aadhaar system through the robust arrangement. Section 32 of the Aadhaar Act 2016 prohibits the Uday from controlling, collecting or maintaining any information about the purpose of any other. ठीक है. Now it prohibits Uday for controlling, collecting or maintaining information. Controlling, collecting, maintaining information about the purpose of any authentication. The authentication system are certified as per the International Security and Privacy Standard ISO 2701/2013 for Information Security Management System for Privacy Information Management System. तो security, privacy दोनों ही अच्छे से. की यूजेस ऑफ आधार यूजेस इन डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट आधार इनेबल पेमेंट सिस्टम, जैम, ट्रिनिटी, जनधन, आधार एंड मोबाइल ट्रिनिटी, वन नेशन वन राशन कार्ड, पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि, कोविन, फेस ऑथेंटिकेशन, केबल टेलीविजन नेटवर्क रेगुलेशन एक्ट 1995. The Ministry of Information and Broadcasting had notified amendment in the Cable Television Network Rule 1994. It provides the operational mechanism for implementation of the decriminalized provision of the Cable Television Network. Implementation of the decriminalized provision of the Cable Television Network Act 1995. It provides operational mechanism for the implementation of the decriminalized provision of the Cable Television Network Act 1995 to make the Cable Television Network Regulation 1995 more business friendly and to boost investor confidence and ease of doing business. Section of the Act were re-examined and were decriminalized through the Jan Vishwas Act 2023. Jan Vishwas Amendment of Provision Act 2023. The imprisonment provision have been now replaced with monetary penalties and other non-monetary measures like advisory warnings. Sarna Code. Jharkhand government is seeking recognition of the Sarna religious code for tribal. Sarna followers are the nature visitors who do not consider themselves Hindu and have been fighting for a separate religious identity for decades. So far, the census survey have included them as others in the religious column. Believers of the Sarna faith do not practice idol worship, nor do they adhere to the concept of the Varna system, heaven and etc. Holy grail of Sarna faith is Jal, water, jungle, Jameen, and his followers pray to the trees and in Sarna Code, Jharkhand government. Okay, अभी हम ये करते हैं IR जो है वो हम नेक्स्ट टॉपिक में नेक्स्ट पार्ट